Good afternoon. It is Sunday, July 23rd, 2017. This is the Bitter Knitters podcast TV attack version with me, Jacqualine, and Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
What do you got for us today?
Lots of TV. I got some news to begin with. And you know how ABC bought the rights to Idol. They're going to reboot Idol from the ground up. They've got Katy Perry as a judge. They're going to reboot it from ground zero. Well, they introduced their new host today, or earlier this week, and it is their old host.
Yeah.
Ryan
they were hinting at that right from the very kind of beginning, right? That it was going to be Seacrest.
First of all, the timing was always really kind of suspect and bizarre because he got I don't know which one happened first, but he got the Kelly Ryan gig, the talk show, and like 2 days later, they officially announced Idol was coming back, and both of them are ABC produced, obviously. So as soon as the second news hit, people kind of connected the dots, and they're like, well, he's obviously going to be hosting it.
You know, if you're doing a whole new show from the, quote, ground up, like, I mean, yes, Seacrest was good at it. He had it down pat. He knows what he's doing. But, you know, some fresh blood would have been great.
100% agree. I feel like it's going to feel like the same old with him as the front, and I definitely feel like they could have brought in someone new, someone different, someone Steve Jones-ier, just someone.
Yes, you know, I was rooting for Steve Jones.
Oh, poor Steve Jones. I think he got an unfair rap when he hosted X Factor.
I don't think Americans got him.
No. And the fact that he got replaced by Mario Lopez and Khloe Kardashian, that's got to sting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like if they really wanted to infuse new blood into Idol and new excitement, they should have gone for a different and honestly cheaper selection. I feel like Seacrest isn't that cheap. That's one reason why
they should have got Sterling Knight.
Sterling Knight. What's Sterling Knight doing?
Nothing. And he's kind of like a young, smarmy, you know, same smarmy kind of Seacrest thing.
I can kind of see him as like a junior Seacrest.
Yeah, and remember they went with Katy Perry. They tried to get Kelly Clarkson, but she was signed by The Voice. Was it The Voice?
Yes, it was The Voice. Yeah. There was all this
they kind of snatched her away quickly.
Yeah, there was all this rumbling, like, oh, maybe Kelly Clarkson. Oh, they're looking at Kelly Clarkson. And then, like, a day later, it's like, well, Kelly Clarkson's joining The Voice in the spring season. So not even this upcoming season. They wanted her so badly that they, like, hired her, like, months further in advance than they needed to. And then
I really would have liked to have seen Kelly.
Kelly would have been good. But I think Kelly's going to work well on The Voice also. And The Voice also got Jennifer Hudson for the fall. And I think Jennifer Hudson was another one that could have possibly, because I believe from what I've been hearing, the original plan for Idol was to have either 2 or all 3 judge slots be filled by former Idol contestants.
Yeah. Now they'll have to go with like
Lee DeWise.
Lee DeWise and Scotty McCreery.
Oh, he just can't get on a plane.
I mean, Scott Sable is really the number one choice in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Scott Sable, I think, would have been a fantastic judge.
He's probably in jail. Live from, you know, Attica or someplace.
From murdering too many phones.
And sunglasses.
Oh, take a look at him now. Oh,
exactly.
In jail. Well, they could have just like randomly put all contestants' names in the hats and like just like pick one and be like Anwar Robinson.
What's his name? What was his name? The one everybody hated with the pony hawk. Sanjaya.
Yeah.
I always had a little place in my heart for Sanjaya. I thought he was a sweet kid.
I felt like he was treated a little unfairly.
Yes, Simon was really cruel to him.
They were really mean to him. And I mean, he was just there having fun. And I feel like even in like the press and the public, people just sent so much hate towards him. And I thought he was amazing. But I would settle for Lee DeWise. I mean, what else is he doing? Selling paint? Come on. But I feel like he
didn't really have much personality anyway. Like, you want him to be a judge? Ugh.
No, he was really boring. He was probably one of the least winners.
You need like one of the kooky ones, like John Stevens or you know, somebody with personality.
Someone with lots of personality. But I know at one point they were looking
Oh, I know, Adam Lambert.
You beat me to it. I know at one point they were looking at Adam Lambert. Hopefully that fell through. So what I find curious is, so we got Seacrest as host, and they very quickly named Katy Perry as judge. Now, my feeling is they probably want to keep the cost down. So at this point, the two of them, I think, are taking up so much of the budget that who is left to be called judges?
There's not going to be any money left for makeovers or fancy lighting shows.
Or anything that they can't bring back the theme song. No.
Are they gonna have enough money to buy the song rights? Like they'll all be singing songs from, you know, the early 1900s that are
this
not
week on Idol. We've got Yankee Doodle week. Exactly. They're all singing Yankee Doodle.
They're all just singing Katy Perry songs the entire time.
God. Oh, singing Firework. No, who else are they going to get as judges? In the
yes. My sister Patty, of course, Sister Patty's in the chat, and she says she hasn't watched since Bo Bice. But Bo Bice would be an amazing, remember?
Just don't call him
scandal this year.
Just don't call him white boy.
Yeah, don't call him white boy. Don't offer him Popeyes. It'll bring out the rage.
I think, you know what, there is some crazy in him. I think he might actually be entertaining.
Yeah. And he's kind of, what's the word I want to say? He's one of these guys that take his art real serious. So he would probably get like really angry if he thought somebody was like a goofball act and stuff.
Yes, which I would love.
Taylor Hicks, speaking of goofballs.
Oh my God. Woo! And you know what? You know, he would do it for like a purple jacket, and that's it.
Yeah,
he would be very cheap. But you know what? Auditions are coming up soon. I'm looking them up right now. Holy cow. The first audition's in Orlando. I should go and audition.
You should.
And it's August 17th. And so those are open auditions. I think the first judge auditions might be like the 25th. So it's coming up in the next month. So we've got to know who the judges are fairly soon. And that kind of reminds me of X Factor, when I don't think they finalized the judges on one of those seasons until like the day before audition.
I remember that.
It was crazy. And I think that's when we got like Paulina Rubio. It's like, who are you?
You snatch anybody at this point.
Oh, Paulina Rubio for Idol. There we go. I'd be okay with
that. At least it's not Nicole Scherzinger.
Oh, please no. But I do have a recommendation for a judge. So I've been watching another ABC amazing show called Boy Band. And so
I've not watched 1 second.
It's amazingly awful but awesome. So I recommend it to anybody. So they grab all these, like, I think they start off with like 32 boys between the ages of like 14 and 22. And they've had them audition, then they got rid of a lot of them. Now every week they put them into like different bands, and they have to perform like a horrible non-boy band song like Adele every week, and then they eliminate 1 or 2 boys based on people's votes. But the judges panel are Nick Carter. He's all right. He's kind of mean. He's got like kids. He's got like 2 or 3 boys he hates, and he like calls them out every week. And of course, those are the ones I kind of like. And he's just kind of a jerk. You got Baby Spice, who's very horny. Even though she would get arrested if she tried anything.
Some of them are above the age.
Some of them are, yes. Most of them, yeah, some of them are. There's some that are like, you're 15, you look like you're like 35. So I think they're lying about their age. And then the third judge is Timbaland. And I think he is actually a really good judge. He kind of has a little bit of quirk and a little bit of goofiness and just kind of strange, but he also offers good advice. And so I would put Timbaland on the American Idol panel. I really was impressed by him.
Remember, Timbaland has produced a lot of amazing albums.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you always don't want super like performers and huge stars like that. Look at Randy Jackson and Simon Cowell coming in as producers. So I think obviously Timbaland is a much larger name than either of those guys were when season 1 started. I still think that to get a producer like that, specifically him, would be a good move on ABC's part. And he's already part of the ABC family. Yeah.
Well, you never know. Maybe that will happen.
We'll see. Yeah, that would be my dream casting, even though I'm probably not going to watch this. I just can't. I'm so idled out. I really do think it was too early to bring it back.
Yeah, it should have waited at least 5 years.
So let's get away from American Idol as far as we can. And American Horror Story announced their new title for the upcoming 7th season. It's called American Horror Story. Lena Dunham's coming, run!
That sounds like the scariest season ever.
It's actually called American Horror Story Cult. But Lena Dunham is supposed to make an appearance in it, which
do you think
I'm
she's
not the biggest fan. Oh, geez. They keep showing pictures of clowns, so maybe she's a clown cult leader. No makeup required.
That's so weird. Why would the cult be clowns?
I don't understand.
We already had a show about cults called The Following, and it was like good and bad at the same time. I don't know if I'm ready to watch more cults. And there was that show Cult, too. I forgot about that one.
I forgot about the show Cult. Yeah, I feel like we've had so many cults recently. And even if you look at like past horror stories, there's always cults involved with a lot of the stories. Like look at last season with Roanoke, you had those like Roanoke settler cult people, and I don't understand what that was about. But yeah, I mean, at least they're not being as secretive as they were last year, where we didn't even know the title until.
No, it was last year was a great season. That was my favorite season, I think, so far.
It was good. It was a little schizophrenic to me. I feel like I don't necessarily know. I like the jarring change they made partway through. I mean, it was kind of needed because you couldn't do the documentary the whole 10 episodes.
Yeah, what I liked about it was it was scary because I felt like it hasn't been scary since season 1. And when I watch Horror Story, I want scary.
Yeah, and it really hasn't. Like Freak Show wasn't scary. Hotel was not scary at all. And
Coven was funny. It wasn't really scary. It was funny.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah, they went more of a comedy angle with that one. And I'm not quite sure with the first looks and the pictures they've been given. Sure, they've shown monster masks and all this, but more of it seems like it's more of the lighthearted than necessarily the horror route.
Yeah, and it could be more like disturbing how like Asylum was kind of like, you know, like some weird twisted shit was happening, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I have to cover my eyes. I'm so scared.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily
when Chloe Sevigny came on screen.
That was frightening, and that was before she had her makeover into the little demon creature. I don't know. I think Asylum was my favorite season.
Who's all coming back? Like, is it going to be the whole crew again? Like, are we having Lady Gaga again? Are we having
Lady Gaga's been announced
Kathy
as not coming back?
Okay.
The only like regulars that we've seen so far, or that we know for sure will be part of, I think, the main cast, will be Evan Peters. Sarah Paulson, and Cheyenne Jackson.
Okay, so no Kathy Bates.
No, I haven't seen anything about Kathy Bates. They also announced this week that Frances Conroy and Mare Winningham, who have been in past seasons, might make appearances also, along with others. But there's a lot.
They back. What's his name? He was on Big Brother. The little white-haired guy that talks like this.
Oh yeah, Leslie Jordan.
Yes, that's it. I hope they bring him back.
Oh my gosh, how did that come? Yeah, he's been used 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah,
and he's one of those that just comes in for an episode or two. So I can see them using a lot of people like that. But they've also announced a lot of people that are kind of new to the American Horror Story universe, like Billy Eichner is going to join. Billy Lord is going to join. Leslie Grossman, I don't know who that is, and Colton Haynes from Teen Wolf.
Oh, Colton's got a job.
Yeah,
that's not a superhero thing. Good for him.
Yeah, so they're all going to be in the season. It sounds like they're going to be. I don't know if they're going to necessarily be the main cast, but I think we're going to see them more than characters like maybe Frances Conroy and Lena Dunham. But that's the one thing I like about Horror Stories, that this is now the 7th season, so he's created such a stable of people that pop up and in and out that you never know who you're going to see next.
You know, and I'm not that excited because, you know, cults don't really interest me that much, and I'm really not a Lena Dunham fan. But I will definitely give it a chance because I've always enjoyed every season.
And that's the nice thing about Horror Story, is that this is only 11 episodes. They're usually between 10 and 13. So this is going to be 11 episodes this year. And you don't need to know any knowledge from previous seasons. Exactly. And if you don't like this season, well, it doesn't matter. Next season's going to be completely different. That you don't have to. I never finished Coven.
Yeah,
never finished.
I can't believe it's been 7 seasons already.
Yeah, you know who needs to come back because she's only been on season 1? Connie Britton.
I know I knew you were going to say that. Your future wife, Connie Britton.
Yeah, now that she's no longer in Nashville.
Nashville.
Have her pop up.
Or any job. She doesn't have a job that we know of.
Exactly. I can't think of one right now. And we know that she still has a relation with Ryan Murphy because she popped up on the OJ show last year for a couple
That's
episodes.
right.
So she's still kind of part of his little stable. But it's really interesting watching him build the stable that we see through all his shows now. Scream Queens, because Billy Lord from Scream Queens and Colton Haynes coming over to Horror Story. Glee, right? Horror Story, the OJ show, and the future seasons. Now you got Versace coming up, which is going to be the next season. You got Ricky Martin in that, Salma Hayek. So he's got really interesting people that he's bringing into his stable. So I'm kind of interested to see.
Good quality actors too.
He really does. I remember when they were announcing the cast for the OJ show, and like you're like Cuba Gooding Jr., John Travolta. It was insane.
David Schwimmer, forgot about him. He actually was very good in his role.
He was good, but I will say I still think the two breakouts were Sarah Paulson and Sterling K. Brown.
Absolutely.
Who is now on This Is Us, making us cry every week. But Horror Story comes back September 5th. So a little sooner than it has the last few years, too.
Yeah, that's really early for most shows premiering in the fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, a lot earlier. Now, there's another show in the fall I'm really excited about premiering November 21st. It's a Hulu show, and you may know nothing about this show. So it's called Runaways. And it is based on a Marvel comic from the first half of the 2000s decade. And so it's a story about 6 kids who get together. They're not best friends, but they get together because their parents are like, you know, sometimes when parents get together for parties and the kids are all in the basement and you're like, okay, well, we don't really know each other, but our parents are doing whatever. So it turns out every once in a while their parents get together, and so they're all get together too. And I don't know how close the TV show will keep to this. Well, it turns out that their parents are supervillains, and a group of supervillains trying to take over the world or trying to do something. And so then it kind of brings them together, trying to run away from the truth of their parents. Some of them develop powers, some of them are smart and like build things, and one of them has like a telekinesis dinosaur. So it's really kind of a neat, kind of a cool little concept. That the comic was fantastic when it first premiered in the early 2000s. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that translates to TV.
You know, I hate superhero things.
It's not that superhero.
I'll give it a shot. I give a lot of things a shot, but
yeah, it's not that.
I'm excited for the other one. The other Marvel thing with the
Gifted.
Teens.
No.
Gifted. Yeah. No.
Gifted. The X-Men one.
Yeah, that one.
Yes. I haven't heard much about it. I really want to see that, though. That looks really good with Vampire Bill and Fred from Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the two main parents. They find out their kids have mutant powers, and so they try to go into hiding and to protect the kids, and they run into some X-Men characters. I think that looks fantastic. That's probably one of the fall shows I'm most looking forward to this coming season.
Well, I'm sure you'll make me watch both of them.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you would at least give Gifted a shot. But yeah,
I would. You know me. I give a lot of shows at least one shot. Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Gypsy. One shot. Okay. We'll get to that later. We haven't even talked about that, so I have no idea how you feel about that, but I can guess.
I'm not even giving you any revelations about that show yet.
Like the show itself. So anyway, we also have Comic-Con happen this week. And I just want to go on a short, quick, tiny little rant. Is that on Comic-Con, you have all the TV show movie panels. You've got these interviews that websites do, radio shows do, TV shows do. But I feel like it's all a waste of time because I listened to all of these interviews this weekend and they don't reveal anything. Every question is, oh, can you tell me about this? Nope, not allowed to. It's like, then what's the purpose? Give us a little bit of something. Right. What's the point of even doing press, of even doing something if you're just going to like trot these people out to say nothing but, well, yeah, this, but I can't say anything else. It's so
all they can talk about is
pointless.
What happened up until, yeah.
Yes, and even then,
people spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, so watching these like panels or no news is really revealed, and listening to these radio interviews where you get nothing, it's really frustrating as a fan. But there's a little bit of news coming out. We got a Westworld trailer.
Oh, I haven't seen
That is
that.
out. Yeah, yeah. If you look
I have to
online,
leave this now so I can watch the
okay,
trailer.
I'll just
Thanks.
talk for a minute and a half all by myself. It was kind of baffling and confusing, but so's Westworld.
This is true.
I'm very curious to see where they're going to go season 2 in terms of, and I'm sure I can find this information, but in terms of who's coming back and who's not coming back, because the way they told the story in season 1, you would think that there's going to be quite a few characters that are not we're not going to see again.
Yeah, like you
Just
assume
because
Anthony Hopkins is dead.
you would assume Anthony Hopkins isn't back. You would assume that the blonde guy and his friend aren't coming back.
And the what's his name? The guy he was in Hunger Games. The
Oh, he's all over the trailer.
I haven't seen. And is Thandie Newton's character, like, does she actually escape? Is she going to be in it? What's going on?
I believe I saw her in the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was a lot of Arnold / Bernard in the trailer, so he's very prominent in that trailer. So it's just very curious to see where they're gonna go.
What I loved about that show is after I watched that show on Sunday, I would sit there and think about it and be so like, what's gonna happen next? For the whole week, I'd think about that show. That was like, for me, the best show that premiered last year. Now I know we have a long time to wait for the next season.
Yeah, it'll be definitely sometime in 2018. I think that's all they've said. They haven't given a specific date, but it looks like they're deep into filming if they've got this trailer, which looks like it's a lot of finished footage. So it looks interesting. It confused the heck out of me. But something I wanted to talk about last week, not 100% TV related, but it's kind of, to me, almost Westworld-ish, was last weekend Disney announced that they want to build a Star Wars hotel. Did you hear this story?
I heard that, but I didn't read any of the headlines or any of the actual stories.
The idea is that they want people to come in, and it's almost going to be like a cruise ship mentality, that once you're in that hotel, unless you go to like the Star Wars land next door in the park, you are pretty much living and breathing and everything Star Wars for the 2 or 3 days that you're staying in the hotel. So there's like no windows. All the windows like look out to like space or look out to whatever planet you might be on. All the staff members and everyone is themed, and they're pretty much could be robots like Westworld. They're all in character. Apparently you've got adventures and missions that you've got to do, and you can talk and like barter and trade with like the different like Star Wars citizens in that hotel. So it sounds like obviously they're not using, for the most part, robots, but it almost seems very Westworld-ish to me, where you're kind of putting yourself into this reality, which is going to be nothing like what's going on outside.
Oh my God. It's like a LARPer's wet dream.
Pretty much. And that is something I never want to see.
Have you already booked your weekend?
Every weekend. No. The problem is that right now I think they're still kind of planning it out. I think it's going to be a few years down the road. I was actually shocked they announced it. Usually they don't like to announce things that are so up in the air still, but there was a survey that went out in a few months ago, and the survey story just like blew up everywhere. So I understand why they felt like they needed to at least address that. And it got people excited.
It sounds fun, but I mean, I don't know if it's just me because I'm older or whatever, and I love Star Wars. I just don't know at what point that would get old. You know what I mean? Like into the vacation.
Well, at least, like I said, it's only like a 2 or 3 day experience.
Yeah,
so at least
but I think like 2 or 3 hours, I'd be like, okay, I had enough of this
now. Ready to go to Disney. They did also announce the date for Mindy Projects last season.
Sad.
Because you still watch that, right?
I love that show, yeah.
September 12th. It's going to be a 10-episode final season.
That's sad. I mean, it got a couple extra seasons after it got canceled on Fox, so I'm okay with it going. Last season wasn't the greatest season, but
yeah, it seems like once you've got 6 seasons for a comedy is pretty long, and maybe sometimes they should end a little bit before that. I'm looking at you, Modern Family.
And she's pregnant now, so I mean, she's gonna have to focus on her baby for a little while.
That's true. And I was going to ask if you know what, they're probably all done with the series, so they probably don't, because they already wrote a pregnancy, right, into the show at one point?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. We also had a little bit of Lucifer news. Tom Welling, who played Superman in Smallville for all 10 seasons, is joining the cast. Sounds like it's a series regular. Sounds like he's going to be joining the police force and is going to be kind of creating a love triangle between Chloe, Lucifer, and this new character.
I can't take Tom Welling seriously as a love interest. He just looks like still, even though he's a man, looks like a 12-year-old boy. And
sometimes his face looks like too big for his body. Like he looks like it's weird.
He's got, yeah, I don't know, something about him. I don't care about Tom Welling. I like Lucifer and I like Kevin Alejandro. That's all I care about on the show.
I almost feel like they're giving up completely on that love triangle, which they kind of did when he was dating Lucifer's mom throughout this.
Yeah. And I think they're hinting that there might be something between him and the forensics girl.
Yes, yeah. I feel like she kind of came out of nowhere last season, and I feel like they need to do more with her character. She seemed like a fun character, but they didn't give her a whole lot to do this season.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
So we'll see what happens.
Lucifer's a good show. If you don't watch it, you should be watching. It's funny and interesting.
Yeah, Lucifer is good. Another show that announced a casting announcement this week was iZombie. And the gentleman that plays Blaine's dad, is it Robert Nepper? He was in Prison Break, right?
Yeah, T-Bag, yeah.
T-Bag in Prison Break. He's going to be a series regular. And I'm not too excited about that because I feel like all the Blaine stories are always my least favorite stories. And I never liked his father as a character.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, some of the Blaine stuff is good, but the whole side business with Blaine stuff just bores me.
Oh, bores me to tears. I don't want to see any of that. It just, I don't know. So I feel like if he's being made a series regular, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, which is kind of a shame because I feel like with the premise that they left us at the end of season 3, like they could go so many different directions, and going back to Blaine's dad seems kind of like...
Yeah, he dropped him down the well. Leave him in the well and let us move on to something else.
Yeah, especially now that everybody knows there's zombies in Seattle. There's lots of zombies in Seattle now because of that blood thing that made a lot of zombies. So I feel like there's a lot more interesting stories there than, once again, Blaine and his dad or Major coming a zombie again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how many times is this dude gonna like human zombie?
It's kind of ridiculous. It's almost like when Dean and Sam go to hell at the end of every season.
Once again. So we have some shows that we're on this week that we want to talk about. And the first one we want to talk about is the grand return of Battle of the... something called Game of Thrones.
What's that?
What is that? A small little indie show?
I think so. Probably has no big stars and nobody knows about it. It's probably secret between you.
I don't know what the show is. I guess we have to talk about Game on Thrones or Game of Thrones.
It must be like some sort of live stream on people playing video games, right?
It's a LARPer's wet dream.
It's a LARPer's wet dream.
Let me
get my notes.
How many notes? Like 5 pages?
No, it's only just under a page.
Okay.
I write very large.
I have to say, the way they started, this is season 7 of Game of Thrones. It's only going to be 7 episodes this season. So obviously the first episode was a lot of setup, checking in with people, seeing where people are going to go. Basically, where are they now? But they opened up the season with probably the best scene of the episode. Would you agree with that?
Amazing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, I just knew a lot of people I thought were confused by that, but I knew immediately what was happening, and I was so excited.
I was just gonna say the way they started it, I was thrown off at first because here we are in where the Freys live, I guess where the Red Wedding happened. Was it the same room?
Yeah, it's called the Twins. Yeah.
I had no idea how to name.
I'm a nerd. Ignore me.
and so Walder Frey is talking to everybody, and you're like, wait a minute. Arya killed Walder Frey last season and made him eat his children.
I did for a second that it was a flashback until he really started talking about bringing all the Freys together under one roof. And I was like,
As soon as he mentioned all the Freys together, I'm like, okay, this is not Walder Frey. This is Arya doing her Scooby-Doo Mission Impossible mask thing.
That scene was I literally wrote the word delicious, and it really was delicious. Like, it was so good.
Oh, she got her revenge on the Frey family. So she pretty much poisoned the entire family and wiped them all out.
And then she says, "Tell them winter came for House Frey." I loved it. I said this to you the other day. She's a serial killer. I love Arya, but that shit takes balls. She's a downright serial killer.
She totally is. Like, we're supposed to root for her. She's like has her list, getting revenge on people, but she's killing people left and right at this point, and we're still rooting for her.
Weren't even on her list. She's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm in the area. I may as well bump up the kill list here."
But
take out literally a whole family.
She didn't kill the girl, so she's good.
That's true. I mean, girl power, go Arya.
The only thing that I really had an issue with, and I mean, it's not the show's fault, it's just the way they do the whole reveal of the mask and reveal of the face. Like, it's not just the face, but it's like the body. So like Walder Frey is like 3 times the size of Arya. And so one scene when she rips off the mask, all of a sudden we went from this big hulking huge guy to like little tiny like 18-year-old girl with the.
But I feel like there's a magic to it, right? So like the magic makes an illusion. That's what I kind of, you know,
it's just the way the camera made it. That one shot, all of a sudden you're like, okay, Walder Frey is now like a third of his size, so obviously this is going to be Arya ripping off a mask. But it was so well done, and I read an interview saying that originally that was not. There was going to be no cold open to the show. It was just going to start with the theme song. And that wasn't even going to be the first scene of the show. But once they were editing and did it, and they're like, okay, this is awesome. This needs to be.
Yeah, they have to come back with a bang.
And I think that was the right choice, because really that was the only scene that I think had that much of an impact last. I mean, it was a good episode, but that was definitely the biggest impact scene.
Yeah.
But that's not what most people are
talking about. Yeah.
Well, that and Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm looking up on my TV. I'm like, is that? I'm like, yeah.
I want to say, when they showed the mist right after the opening, and you knew it was the White Walkers coming, I was like terrified we were gonna see Hodor.
Yeah.
I was like, no, please don't see Hodor. Although we did see what's his name, Tutu.
The giant. Yeah, that made me sad.
I did. I thought they were going to bury him. Did he get? Well, I guess maybe they buried him, and that's a future vision, and he gets pulled out of the ice.
I don't know, but it was, and maybe it was just another. I like to hope that it was just another giant, because you're right. They're in the north, and Tom, whatever his name is, he died not above the wall. So I'm guessing it was a different.
Yeah, he died at Winterfell. Breaking down the door, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have thought Jon Snow would know enough to burn his body if that's him. I hope it's not him.
I don't think it is.
Maybe another giant that died at the wall during that first battle with the wildlings.
I hope so. Let's just say that. No. And so we have Winterfell, and we've got Jon Snow, and we've got Sansa, and they're kind of having a discussion on whether to let the families that betrayed them to keep their castles or not. Were you Team Jon or Team Sansa with us?
You know, I was kind of on Sansa's side at the beginning, but when Jon brought forth and they're little kids, how do you punish an 8-year-old for the sins of his father? He has no say, no decision to make.
But now you're leaving these 8-year-olds in charge of castles? I was on Team Sansa.
What about the Lady Mormont? You don't think she can lead her castle and her people?
Well,
she'll not sit by and sew while her people die.
Different kind of badassery than these 2 little wimpy kids had.
But Alice and whatever his name is, they might have some badassery in them. I can't speak English.
Oh, I made up a word, so I don't even think I was speaking English.
Maybe they'll become even more loyal because of the mercy that he shows. I think it's somewhere in between. You know, like the people were punished. Yeah. They lost their heads or they were hung. So,
and so
how
you're
far
right,
do
I
you
guess
continue to punish?
The surviving members of that family.
I mean, you know, are you going to become like Arya and kill whole houses so that there's nobody left?
And still get people rooting for you?
Yeah.
You know who I don't think is long for this world?
Peter Baelish?
Correct. Yeah. I feel like he's kind of in a situation where I think he's going to try to make a move, and I feel like it's going to backfire on him.
Too many fingers in the pies is what I think is what's going on.
Too many little fingers in the pie.
Yeah. I'm not going to, because this is speculation that I saw, but I'm still not going to reveal it just in case it turns out to be a spoiler. But if you're interested, look up on YouTube. I happened to find it yesterday. I was looking at clips. Somebody has a theory about the White Wedding.
The White Wedding?
White Wedding. And that's all I'll say. You should look it up. It's kind of interesting. It has to do with Peter Baelish and the outcome of him. And I kind of feel like that might be a possibility. So
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. We could talk about it after call. I'll tell you what it is. But I don't want to spoil it for listening.
For everybody else, even though it is just speculation, but yeah, that makes sense. And so then we had Captain Jack Sparrow made an appearance this week. How amazing was that?
Yeah, I mean, we got rid of his dreadlocks and his acting ability, but I mean, it was nice to see an old favorite pop up.
So Euron Greyjoy came in to King's Landing.
I'm not on a Greyjoy. What are you talking about?
To visit.
Euron. What's his name? Euron.
It is Euron. Right?
I know, but that's why it's a funny name. Yeah.
You're on. I'm not. You on. So because to go to Cersei, who's now on the throne, to kind of make an agreement to rule together, I guess for marriage, correct? Kind of king and queen thing.
Yeah, he wants to marry her and become her king.
And she does not trust her whatsoever. And you know what? Why would you trust him? This guy seems like he will murder anybody, any chance to get ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I found it interesting that he kept going on about how strong his navy was, and that's fantastic. If your navy's strong, that's good. But what are you going to do when you have to come inland? Your boats aren't going to do anything in the middle of,
like Winterfell.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anywhere. Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, fine, I will earn your trust. I'm going to go. I'm going to get you a gift. I'll come back and bring you this gift.
With a priceless gift.
A priceless gift. So no one knows what this gift is, but every single response I've seen with everywhere I've looked, it involves somebody's head.
Yeah, I kind of saw a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it. But if you look at the trailer they released at Comic-Con,
I watched it.
Euron Greyjoy in the Red Keep in King's Landing somewhere, and he's addressing a crowd. And apparently, you can see someone kneeling on the ground, and you can see that person's hair and some of their head, and that's who they think.
Ooh, I'll have to rewatch that because I watched it quickly, didn't pay 100% attention to it.
I saw BuzzFeed, my number one news source. BuzzFeed had a breakdown and showed me that picture. So credit BuzzFeed. Well, I wanted to say, Cersei besmirched your girlfriend on the show.
What did she say? I must have missed that.
She called your girlfriend, old lady Tyrell, an old C word.
Oh, why did I not hear that? Cersei, you are dead to me.
You probably have your automatically brain to black out things like that, and it was just like called her a beautiful, wonderful woman instead.
That's what I heard. Oh no, Cersei, you're the worst. I hate you now.
That was one of the theories I heard. People thought maybe they would bring Olenna Tyrell there, and that would be her priceless possession.
That was one of the theories I heard. I heard Tyrion, I heard Sansa, Jon Snow, Daenerys, pretty much.
It's pretty hard to get to most of those people.
Yes, so it's somebody who's currently in King's Landing.
No spoilers.
Well, who? Okay, I'll have to watch it again.
I'll tell you that after this thing.
I was so thrown off by the last scene of the trailer where it has two characters I don't think that I've ever meeting. I was like, oh, that's cool. But at the end of the episode was kind of an interesting scene. It was a full silent, 5-minute scene of Daenerys landing back to Dragonstone, and with her and her people, minus Theon and Yara. And then they get back. It's completely abandoned. There's absolutely nobody there conveniently. And now they're about to get to work. I want to see some badass Daenerys. I'm ready.
Me too.
I'm ready.
You skipped the whole Samwell Tarly. And,
oh my God. The less poop I think of, poop and soup, the better I am.
I'm telling you, I'll never eat a pickle again. Because just like they look like pickles floating around in some brown slop. To me, it was disgusting.
There was like a 5-minute scene of him pooping scoop and pooping soup and poop and soup and more poop. And it was like, dude, you went all the way to Old Town and all you're doing is cleaning poop. And so,
but that's how you train to be a maester. You don't automatically start with the juicy books. You have to show your devotion.
Oh God, I would never be a maester. I would vomit within the first day. I can't take more of this poop. Just put me in a cell with
Once they
George.
said I had to be celibate, I wouldn't have been a maester. So
Just put me in a cell with
he
George.
said,
Well, it's more the poop. I can't get over the poop.
If you're into spoilers too, you should go and research it. Apparently, there was a big spoiler for possibly the cure to grayscale in some of the books that Sam was reading. So
I did see that. And yeah, and it looks like he found a collection of Dragonstone. He's going to let Jon Snow know. They think that's the way they can kill the White Walkers. So I have got a big feeling that's how they're setting up the meeting between Jon Snow and Daenerys and her troop. Again,
I just want to ask you about the Hound. What did you think of those scenes?
It was a good nap time.
I really think they're trying to now. I know, like the last couple of seasons, they tried to make him more humanized, like with his relationship with Arya. Yeah. You know, now they've returned to the place where he stole the money from the father and the young daughter, and you find them. They literally died of starvation in their beds. Yeah, or killed themselves before they could die of starvation.
I didn't quite catch that, even though they showed us in that long previously on they had before the season. They did feature that. It wasn't until I went back and I read and I understood that, and then that added a little bit more heft to it.
You know, and he made sure he buried them now, and then he saw the vision in the fire.
Yeah.
So my question is the Lord of the Light real? Is there really? I mean, not in our universe, but in the Game of Thrones universe.
Yes.
Is he real? Does he have real power? The Hound is seeing visions.
It's possible. It is really interesting how they are, I think, building up the Hound to play an integral part in the story. I don't think we would have gotten the scene that we did last week if he wasn't going to play a big part in the future.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So
I will say in the books, as I don't think he's cold-hearted. I think he just has to do what he has to do.
Yeah.
There was a lot more. I had a lot more. The same as what they did with Jaime. There's a lot more sympathy on my part for the Hound in the books.
Yeah, no, they definitely are creating sympathy for him, and I think they're building up more. And I guess we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see more of that tonight with episode 2 of 7 of season 7. Such a short season. But
it's so sad.
I think it should be fun, and based on the previews for this week's episode last week, and based on the Comic-Con trailer, I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff. So that should be cool. Excited. Yeah, me too. So let's go ahead and we will talk about 2 different shows that have premiered recently on Netflix. The first one, and we can just talk about for a couple minutes, is called Gypsy.
Oh, okay. That's the one we're talking about first. Okay.
Yeah, Gypsy. Just get it out of the way. So it features Naomi Watts, who I love Naomi Watts. I think she's fantastic, but I don't know what kind of dirt they had on her to make her star in this show.
I hate her American accent. It's too high, and it's like this, and I don't know. I don't like her American accent.
Her accent was off too. Her voice was weird. Her accent was weird. And so she's a therapist. Her name is Jean, but I think she's got issues, and she gets herself involved with some of her clients' life, and she tries to become a different person named Diane. And
it took me until literally the end of the episode to figure out that's what she was doing. I was like, is this her daughter? Did she give this girl away for adoption? Why is she obsessed with this girl? And then when I saw the tattoo, I guess I shouldn't. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, no, that's fine. You can go ahead.
So you see, she's talking to one of her clients, Sam, and he reveals this tattoo that he has, and he says he's obsessed with his ex-girlfriend. He can't live without her. She's his everything. He can't get over her. He doesn't know how to get on with his life because she was so amazing. And persuasive was the word. And later you see that this girl that the Diane lady keeps meeting in this coffee
shop.
She has the same tattoo. So now you have to realize that this is Sam's ex-girlfriend.
Well, no, Diane is Naomi Watts.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Diane is her character she plays when she goes into the coffee house. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jean is going into the coffee house pretending to be Diane. And you see this tattoo, and it's just the ex-girlfriend's name is Sydney. I was like, so not the daughter? I didn't know what was going on. so weird.
No, they weren't very clear about it, and it was, and then all of a sudden they like start a friendship and start something more than that. And she goes to see her concert, and I feel like kind of becomes almost a little obsessed with her herself.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna like lesbo it out with her, but she didn't.
I think that I would assume that's coming. Maybe,
It
but
was
we don't
so
know with Sydney
strange.
though, because
But then
she
at the
seems
end, she tried to tell Sam how to get her back.
yeah. Yeah, it seems like she's definitely getting her fingers a little too into like her client's life and her client's backstory. And looking
And
at
that's
the
what we
cast,
find out later. Yeah.
yeah, looking at the cast list, it looks like she gets a little more involved into like the older lady Claire. I know
I am
she's
that older lady, Claire. I felt bad for her. She just wants to be in her kid's life and control it. And I
I think
get that.
Claire was my second favorite part of that show. I loved Claire.
Well,
And I can kind of see Claire kind of being my mom.
yeah. Oh, no wonder I should
My
be best
son
friends with your
doesn't
mom.
date. and then my favorite part was the bi-curious daughter, the karate daughter that they
Yes,
had.
Dolly. You name your girl
Dolly.
Dolly, and she's destined to become, maybe a trans or a lesbian. We don't know yet what she is,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Naomi Watts' character is called to the school because her daughter Dolly was caught kissing a
classmate, a
female
girl
classmate.
classmate,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, and I was looking up stuff online, and people were like, I'm so offended you called this Gypsy. So I have a better name for this show. It's called Molasses.
because it's slow as.
Because it's slow as. I feel
You
like
know,
it went nowhere in an hour.
one of my notes I wrote here is, what is the point? I'm 10 minutes in and I don't know what the plot is, the story is yet.
And then you could have read that same thing 60 minutes in at the end of the first episode.
And through the whole thing, I put daughter, question mark, maybe not the daughter. And then again, daughter again at the end, because maybe she's trying to get Sam back with her. Because the last thing was, because the girl made this whole story about how Sydney had made this whole point about how her dad was in jail and she never has to see him, blah, blah, blah. But then Sam reveals that her father died when she was a young girl at summer camp. And the look on Naomi Campbell's face was more than shocked me. It looked like hurt. Maybe she really is the mother of this girl.
But then wouldn't the girl know that that was her mom unless she, I guess, had abandoned her, right?
Gave her up for adoption or something.
Yeah.
Because when she touched her hand in kind of a provocative way, Naomi Campbell snatched it back really fast. Like, oh,
Watts.
hells no. Oh, yeah, Naomi Watts. Sorry.
No,
I wish it was Naomi Campbell.
You know what would make the show better? Naomi Campbell as in Gypsy.
Yeah, it would have. But the other thing that I thought was, I'm sure when they showed one of the other clients to Jean's therapist, she was a young girl who was addicted to pills and ruined her life with these pills. Then you see Jean steal a friend's prescription. She steals one of the sheets off his prescription pad. He's a doctor. Clearly that's going to come into play later.
Yeah. It just seems like she's the world's worst therapist. She shouldn't be a therapist.
She is, but she's a miracle worker.
Oh, 100%.
That's what one of the characters said. But when the girl, this is the thing I want to say, when that girl, the young girl, I don't know her name, she was going on about the pills and how they let her live and feel. And I'm like, don't pills numb you? Isn't that why people take pills? I thought like ecstasy and coke are the ones that let you live. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm not a drug expert by any means. So
I think you're gonna say addict.
Or that.
But it's just this like overly nosy woman who's a horrible therapist getting like into her clients' lives.
If I was the therapist and lots of money to just spend and go out and buy, fancy perfumes.
You should maybe.
Fancy perfumes.
Fancy perfumes. We have all the Chanels. No, I want the Chanel.
Yes.
I just feel
it was bad, but I'm probably gonna watch just the next episode because I want to see what happens with the mom.
Yes, the mom and Dolly were my two favorite characters. I don't know if that's gonna be enough to get me to watch. I watched a little bit of episode 2, and it was kind of just more of the same. But just
also,
based
their
on
sexy her and her husband was like one of the most boring, awkward scenes since like Monster.
Yes, ugh. Yes,
I'm sexy.
No, and they kept using the word "sexy" everywhere, and in that word.
No sexy.
Was that the show that was talking about sexy pizza? Oh yeah, the daughter's like, this pizza is sexy. Like, pizza's not sexy. Oh, I think it. I was like, okay, the show is, I don't know. So that's Gypsy. And then also this week we got Ozark. another Netflix show starring Jason Bateman, and he is a financial manager type person. He's got his own business that he owns with a business partner, and then we find out Bruce. His name is Bruce, and then he's got a family. He's got a daughter, a son, who are both kind of deformed. And sorry. I quickly side note.
Deformed.
I feel like there are so many TV shows now that they've run out of good-looking people to cast.
Or do you think they're trying to be like interesting, quirky by not going for the perfect family?
Maybe.
Or do they really think these kids are cute?
But look at every show we watch. Every time you talk about a new show, you're like, oh, there's nobody attractive. Nobody attractive. I think there are so many TV shows that they've run out of attractive people to cast.
Or maybe just there's no more attractive people that can act decently. I'm not going to say good.
That decently. Too. Decently. So he's got a family and living in Chicago. He's got a teenage daughter. He's got like a preteen son who's almost a teenager. And his wife is Laura Linney. And she is cheating on him with this rich lawyer guy. I think he's a lawyer, correct?
I have no clue.
And then we find out like halfway through the episode that he and Bruce are working with this like Mexican drug cartel, like laundering money. And I guess Bruce was going behind the guy's back or doing something shady.
And stole $8 million.
And stole $8 million, which caused no more Bruce. Bye-bye, Bruce. And
that scene was brutal.
It was. And you know what, though? What was kind of nice, and I kind of appreciate it more than Gypsy, is I felt like something happened. And I felt like it actually went somewhere and that there was a direction rather than Gypsy just meandering for a full hour. Like, I swear, I'm on my computer. I look at Gypsy. I'm like, this has got to be episode 3 by now, right? And it was still like 40 minutes into episode 1.
Oh, gosh. But, yeah. I knew nothing about this show going in. You said watch it. I'm like, okay. And when I saw Jason Bateman, I thought, oh, this is going to be a comedy.
Oh, nope.
It's extremely dark.
It's very dark. And so he ends up having to take his family to Missouri in the Ozarks, and they have to do, I guess, clean the $8 million for the drug cartel guy.
As a test.
And when he gets there, they meet he somehow gets...
Yokels?
The yokels. And they're all like crime yokels. And they're all... But my favorite part was the end of, how many did you watch?
2.5.
Okay, well, actually, I think that's exactly what I've watched. I love the end of episode 2 with Laura Linney and the kids. It's like the very last scene of that episode when she reveals why they're down in the Ozarks.
Oh, why they're there? Deal with it.
And I thought it kind of and I feel like it kind of added a nice little layer that the kids are also in on it now.
Yeah, and now the son is obsessed with looking at Mexican crime lord videos.
Yes.
and seeing like their death scenes after.
But he also met my favorite character, Tucker. Is that the character's name? It wasn't Tucker.
Oh, the one with Down syndrome?
Yes, that gave him the knife.
Yeah. Well, he seems like the only non-asshole on the show so far.
Exactly. And yeah, I felt bad when like the yokels were making fun of him at the diner.
I know, calling him Jason R-word and stuff. Yeah.
Jason Bateman came to the rescue, which was kind of a nice full circle because his kid said the R-word in the first episode, and they're like, "No, don't say that." And so it was definitely in that character's vein to.
Yeah, originally he says don't say that. Then he sees a girl he wants to kind of manipulate to get into the business with her. He then carries it on a little farther to get on her good side, which ends up working.
Yes, yeah, to get into this local resort hotel type place.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's okay. What did you think of this show?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know anything about going into it. I watched the first episode before bed, so I kind of fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I'm like, wait a minute, why are people getting shot? So I rewound it and watched what was happening. And, the next morning when I got up and I was getting ready, I watched the second episode. So, it's enjoyable.
It's not bad, and I feel like it's got more of a purpose than Gypsy. I think we're going to see it slow down to the pace slightly, but I feel like the pace is definitely a little more as my speed than Gypsy was. And if I had to finish one of the two shows, I'd watch Ozark over Gypsy.
Yeah, 100%.
Except
100%.
the one thing I don't like is one of the yokels is played by the son, Ben, from Wayward Pines, who I'm not a big fan of.
I was saying this. So they're like the daughter and son are sitting by the poolside, and there's like people taking care of the pool area, mowing the lawn or sucking up the leaves or something. And you just kind of get this glimpse, like almost like when the Sasquatch in that famous video where the Sasquatch walks by and kind of turns his face at the screen and then continues. It was like that, and it was just like, oh, that guy looks like the kid from Wayward Pines. And then it was. It was like, ew.
I think the other person that's really hard for me to look at. We sound like horrible people, but I don't care.
Because we're like GQ supermodels.
Oh, of course. Was that a female yokel, the one with like the curly blonde hair? She's really bizarre.
She plays a character on The Americans.
Oh.
That the main Russian spy guy is like kind of, he doesn't have sex with her. She wants to have sex with him, but she's only supposed to be like 15, 16, and he won't do that. And but he kind of leads her on thinking that that's going to happen one day. He gets her stoned and all this stuff because he's using her. So she really looks exactly the same with that strange hair. Looks like a bad perm. If that's her real hair.
Yeah, it does. You know who she looks like in this? I don't know if you're going to understand this reference, but there's that country band called Little Big Town, and there's that one blonde girl with that weird poodle hair, which I think looks awful.
Oh, yes, like I remember. Maybe that's her mom.
Yeah, I think so. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Little Big Town.
See, when I saw her on The Americans, I thought, oh, that's really like bad perms look like that. So I just assumed that was, a hairdo for the show. But now I see it's probably not.
Oh, poor actress. So you know what her name is. Poor actress.
She's a decent actress, though. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she seems like she's okay. I just can't get over that hair right now. Maybe as I go further in. But so right now, I say Ozark. I would kind of recommend. It seems interesting so far. Gypsy, you can pass.
I don't know much about American geography, but I always assumed the Ozarks were like in Pennsylvania and West Virginia and stuff like that. I didn't know they were in Missouri.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Ozarks, but Missouri. But that's the other thing. Is like this wasn't even filmed in Missouri. Like every single
that's the
show,
Appalachians that are there. Where I'm thinking, dirt.
Yeah, every single show these days is like filmed in Atlanta or Canada, and so Ozark is filmed in the Atlanta, somewhere in the Georgia area, and they had to.
I know a lot of places film in Wilmington. Yeah. Where they filmed Dawson's Creek.
Well, here's the thing is that I think that was North Carolina, but Georgia, here's the thing that most of these shows need to realize. Georgia offers such good like incentives to come film. That's why they're not filming in Texas or Florida or Missouri because they provide many tax breaks. And so I feel like all these places need to like realize, because that's an issue here with Florida is they always there was that movie last year, Live by Night, the Ben Affleck one, where he's like, he comes in and he like runs like a crime lord or something. And they filmed it takes place in a Florida town that's still there, but they filmed in Georgia and recreated the town from scratch because of the incentives. And so all these people here in Florida were raising like ruckus, but it's like, obviously you can go for the cheaper option. You've got a budget to go by. Before we go, I do want to give an award out to the MVP of the week. This is the person who was just so fantastic this week, whose athletic skills need to be mentioned before we go. And the MVP, the MVP this week is Misha Barton from Battle of the Network Stars.
I liked her more than I thought I was going to like her.
She was kind of likable. She was kind of okay. I agree. I was expecting to not like her at all, but there was a charm to her, and she seemed nice. She just wasn't that great at Battle of the Network starring.
You mean kayaking?
Kayaking. So they have a kayak race every week, and it's a man and a woman from each team. And so in this case, the man goes from one side of the pool to the other, like does a little turnaround and then back to the start. And then the woman, the female member of the team, has to get in that kayak and then do the same course. Now their team, the primetime soap stars, they had like a 2-mile lead. They were so far ahead of the ABC star team.
He was already back to get Misha Barton into the kayak before the person was even at the other end.
Yeah, and it was really bad. So she had a huge lead, and then she, I think, ended up on like sideways on the other side of the pool, and her team lost by Sherry Belafonte, who I think is like 62 years old, like
62.
completely murdered her in the kayaking.
Yeah, but she did get the point for soccer.
She did get the point for soccer, and Donna Mills in tennis was amazing.
16 out of 20 shots. Jeez
Yeah.
Louise, Donna
Yeah.
Mills is like 70 something.
Yeah, and that Sherry Belafonte, I think, got 9. Any other week, 9 would have won it because they're always like, "Yeah,
9 would have destroyed it.
this person got 1 point," but of course, she was up against Donna Mills, who got 6.
Like the tennis robot.
That was crazy. And then of course
That's
you had
insane.
Misha Barton's amazing dunk tank fall.
Oh my God, where she fell like a dog into the water, like
almost like a belly flop, almost like when you.
But her arms were down.
Yeah, her arms were down. I loved how the host Mike Greenberg, I think his name is, Greeny.
Yeah, Greeny.
Like, I've been covering sports for 30 years. That's the most awkward thing I've ever seen.
He was like laughing so hard he couldn't even conduct himself to get back on, like to talk. Yeah, she felt like almost like in a doggy style position, you know.
When you're like. But when you're sitting in the seat, like it's natural for you just to go feet first, like straight down, and everybody else did that. So I don't know how she did. It was great.
She's got some amazing skills.
She needs to like star in a remake of The River Wild.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they should get a reality show training her to do some sports.
Oh, I would watch that. Like train her for the Olympics.
Yeah.
See what sport she's best at.
For like the decathlon because there's like 10 sports in that.
Oh, that's even better. But you know what? I feel like she was likable enough that I feel like she can carry a show. And I feel like she, after whatever issues she had with the OC, she just kind of vanished. And I'd be okay with seeing her a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't watch the OC, so I knew nothing about her other than what you see on the gossip things. Yeah. I literally had no care about her. But yeah, she seems likable. I can't believe the blue team lost the tug of war. There was like all old people and
DJ Connor.
I was going to say little people on the red team, and the blue team had like 2 strong men and young people.
Well, Ian Ziering, like, holy shit, that guy, like...
That guy's a beast.
That guy is total beast. And then that Josh Henderson, who had injured himself, so he wasn't at 100%. But on the other team, the only, like, the guys were DJ Connor, Wayne from the Wonder Years, and Potsy.
Potsy's like 100 years old.
None of them could stand physically to Ian Ziering. And here's the thing, the one thing I wish they could change about the show is I feel like they give everybody one t-shirt size too small.
Yeah.
You could see every single shape of everything of DJ Connor, and I did not need that. So yeah, that was Battle of the Network Stars.
Watch it, guys. Watch it. It's good.
It's really good. It's fantastic.
So that's the end of the show for us today.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next Sunday, hopefully. Yeah, thank you for joining. Make sure you comment, and hopefully we'll be able to read your comment on air. Join us tomorrow for the regular edition of Bitter Knitters Podcast, and have a great week. And we will see you next week or Monday.
See you later.